What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about some new MyCAREER news that's been released either in the past week or last night through the Twitch stream by 2K. First off, it looks pretty good this year, the MyCAREER, as beforehand. I mean, I loved NBA 2K11, which is the first time I started playing MyCAREER, but the thing is, in that you could do drills, scrimmage, or play games, and that was about it. They started to make it better and better in terms of more features, and up until this year in 2K15, it got really in depth compared to the previous years, where you actually meet players off the court and build friendships or whatnot with them. Kind of like how with Kevin Durant you can talk to him, or you meet your old high school coach, so that's pretty cool. However, this year they're taking a huge step forward, and it looks pretty cool. And the one video I saw, it showed what you can do in the off days, because previously there were no off days that you could really do anything on, because they just simulate to the next game. However, it seems that this year they're making it like you're truly in the NBA, and you have to decide what you're going to do in your off days. There's three options. There's practice courts, so you can work on your game, become a better player, and I believe you can learn some signature moves if you go to practice enough. Build connections with teammates or other players. The examples they showed was something with Dwight Howard, some endorsement deal, I don't know exactly, and then play a football game with Isaiah Thomas. I doubt you'll play the game, but it'll just show a clip of it. And this is to build friendships and build connections so you can get better endorsements and whatnot, and other things can be unlocked. I don't know exactly yet, but people who already played the game posted videos, and I watched a few of them, and that's what it seems like you can do. And the last one is actually go out for endorsements. And the ones that I saw, it seemed like you have to do this a certain amount of times within a certain time period, and if you do that, you can get endorsements from these things. So for instance, I believe one of them was Gatorade, and maybe you have to go to 3 Gatorade meetings or whatnot within a month span. If you do, you get sponsored by them, and then after that, maybe you have to go once a month. So you have to really prioritize what you want to do, because maybe you want to just become really, really good, but don't want to have any connections or endorsements. You don't care that much about VC or whatnot that you get from it. So maybe you go to practice every day. But, some of you might want more VC so you can upgrade your player once again in a different way. So you might go to that, but you might not be able to practice. It's a huge balancing act, and I do enjoy this a lot, since it actually makes us play the game more than this year, where one of my guys, I just did the VC glitch where you just put on 12-minute quarters, foul out. It's not even a glitch, but you foul out, and then you get 1k VC per game, and there's no reason for me to play any games, because sure, I missed the story mode, but the story mode didn't seem that good this year. And going along with the story mode, they released the trailer for MyCAREER this year, which is written by Spike Lee, and it looks very, very good. Compared to all the previous years where it seemed like, oh, you're in the NBA now, have fun, do whatever you want. Especially last year. Well, last year they started to make a turn, it seemed, where you became undrafted, so you kind of had to fight for a spot, but it was still pretty easy. You just choose the worst team, and then you don't do terrible, and you're pretty much guaranteed to make that team, and then the 10-day contract, just be average, and you'll be fine. However, this year, it seems a lot more emotional, where you start off in high school, I believe, and then when you decide which college you want to go to, I know it's not the best, but it's moving on in the right direction. And then from there, they didn't mention college too much in this trailer or preview, but a lot of it seems very emotional. And there's something about leeches, that whole thing that they were talking about, people are just going for your money. So I believe Spike Lee's able to bring something to this game where it's more realistic in real life, where you have other things than just basketball to worry about, with connections and friends, which goes back to the off-season stuff, which seems really cool. Another thing I heard about, and I believe it was from BOO, because he went to the 2K, sorry, there's a bag in my room that's kind of going around, but there was something that he mentioned about a room that you get in your house where it's a basketball court, and it seems kind of like this past year where you have a lobby where your friends can join you, so you can play games on what is that called, Team Up or the park or whatnot. But now you can play in your house, which I feel like this is turning into, I think it was NBA 2K7 or around that time, when they had something like that where you could build your own house and whatnot, but there wasn't a true MyCAREER at that point. They had something like it, but not as good as this. So it is kind of moving into a full life, real life experience. That seems pretty cool as well, since now you can like have a lobby inside your own house, and you can actually fully customize it as well. I heard, because he said that the one that he saw was all pitch dark, pitch black, except for the free throw line, the 3-point line, the backboard, the rim, or something like that. So it seems very customizable, and it sounds pretty cool. Moving on to the general idea, my player, my career. On the 2K cast last night, LD2K and Ronnie2K both announced that they're putting in my player height caps. This has always been there, but they're trying to restrict it more to get rid of the cheese. I'm kind of skeptical if it's going to get rid of all of it, but they're moving in the right direction, trying to get rid of most of it, because previously, I mean, you could make like a 5'5" to 6'8" was your point guard range, and center was like 6'6" to 7'5" at 1 year, and there was nothing bad if you chose to be a 7'3" or 7'5" center. There was no disadvantages to it, or be a 6'8" point guard. However, this year they are trying to make a disadvantage where they're saying the bigger you are, the slower you're going to be, the less athletic you're going to be. However, you're going to be a better post-up player, better rebounder, better defender in terms of like low post and whatnot. So they're making it a lot more realistic. Hopefully they're doing that, as they're going to cap off your ratings based on your height, weight, and play style, because now for offense you can choose from 3 play styles. Outside, so you're going to be like a good shooter but not great inside, so maybe like a Kyle Korver. Inside, good inside but not that good outside, so for a big man, maybe like Sean Livingston would be a good example, because he's not a great shooter but he can play down low decently. And then they have balance, so you're decent outside, decent inside, so maybe like Mike Conley maybe. I'm just thinking of this off the top of my head. And so they're hoping that this gets rid of a lot of the cheese, and I feel like it could if they can do it properly, and I'm having faith in them, because they always say they're going to get rid of cheese, but usually it doesn't work. But this year they're doing the body scans, which they claim will help out. And previously, there was no disadvantages to just making your guy as tall as you can possibly be. The only time there was, I believe, was in 2K11, where you would get less my team points, or my career points, whatever they called it back then, per game, the taller you were. So if you were like a 5'8" point guard, you would get a lot more points than if you, what was it? It's really bugging me that I don't remember what it was called. But if you're 5'8", you get a lot more points than if you were 6'8" and you had the same exact game, just because it's easier to play if you're taller. So this year they're trying to balance it out, where if you're smaller, you're going to be faster, quicker, like Muggsy Bogues, but if you're taller, like Sean Livingston, you're going to be slower. But they always have advantages and disadvantages. Now here's the player height caps. Point guard, you can be 5'7" to 6'7", so if you're under 5'7", 2K doesn't believe you're in the NBA, but whatever. They mentioned that there's barely anyone ever under 5'7". There's been a few, but not too many. There's never been really that many point guards that were 6'7", except for Magic Johnson, and Steve Smith was kind of like a point guard for a couple years, way back when he played early on in his career, but he's more of a shooting guard. For shooting guard, it's 5'10" to 6'8". There's never really any shooting guards under 5'10". Of course, like Nate Robinson might play some shooting guard occasionally, but he's really a point guard. But there's no true starting point guard or shooting guard who's under 5'10", and I really can't think of any shooting guard over 6'8", as a lot of them are from like 6'5" to 6'7", and occasionally you might see 6'8". I believe Joe Johnson's still 6'7", he might be 6'8", so it's pretty accurate. Small forward is 6'3" to 6'10", which is a good height range. Of course, there's people over 6'10" at small forward, such as Kevin Durant, who is 6'11", 7 foot, and same with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Paul George might even be 6'11" at this point. I don't remember, but I remember he hit his growth spurt when he got into the NBA. But for the most part, there's not many guys who are outside that height range for that position. Power forward is 6'5" to 7 foot, which is pretty good range, as the smallest power forward out there ever who was successful was Charles Barkley, he's listed at 6'5", 6'6", but in reality he's 6'4". And power forwards, Dirk, I believe, was 7 foot. I don't think he's 7'1". As most 7'1" guys, you just put him at center. I mean, not Bargnani, he's 7 foot. Kristaps Porzingis might play power forward, and he's listed at 7'3", but I think they'll put him at center this year. And then for center, it's 6'8" to 7'3", which is pretty accurate. There are smaller centers, such as Chuck Hayes with 6'6", but he did play a lot of power forward as well. And 7'3" is a good thing, because I do like back in the day when you had a 7'5" center, but usually they do 1 inch less than the tallest guy in the NBA. And at this point, I guess Simbu Har is the tallest guy at 7'5", but he doesn't even play at this point, so they're just putting it to 7'3", which is a good height, because I feel like if you want a really tall guy, once you get past 7'3", it gets excessive, and at that point, it's not even fun to play with, because you're going to just be jumping over the backboard all the time. However, that's the height caps, and 2K is really slowing down right now. I almost have zero motivation to even play 2K15 anymore, so I'm just really getting ready for 2K16, as everything they're announcing sounds really cool this year. So just a quick wrap up. They're making 2K16's MyCAREER a lot more interesting by including off days. I hope they also include off season. You can now do more stuff with your MyPlayer, such as have a house or a room to play basketball in. Choose what you want to do in the off season, and the height caps are more restricted, and whatever height you choose is going to give you advantages and disadvantages. So there's a lot more I'm probably missing. You can watch the trailer that's been out for probably a week or two, and it's pretty cool looking. So that's my opinions and thoughts on the new 2K16 gameplay.